Item 6, old business, discussion and consideration to designate old elementary building as surplus.
You know, we discussed this a little bit last time, but with 2 board members missing, we tabled it and thought we could continue the discussion this evening, or if there was anyone in the community that had opinions on it, we thought maybe that would give them some time to speak with you, to speak with myself. And a continuation. It didn't go away even though you went to...
I mean, as far as I've seen, there's no drawbacks to us declaring surplus, just gives us options to explore, right? Nothing says we have to sell it, we don't have to do anything with it.
You can decide where you'd want to go as far as sealed bids, auction, that sort of thing. Sealed bids is probably the most common in this situation, and you could reject any and all bids. If you take a bid, it has to be the highest bid that meets spec.
Do we have to decide, if we decide to surplus it, do we have to decide what we're going to do with it tonight, as far as if we want to surplus, put it up for sealed bids, or can we surplus it?
Yep, and then you need to go about deciding if you want to do 3 property owners to determine the appraised value, or go through a South Dakota licensed appraiser.
But if we do the sealed bid, we wouldn't have to do...
Either way, you
Either
have
way.
to get it appraised.
Because it's over a certain dollar amount. Okay.
Even though it's been appraised already, we'd have to appraise it again.
You might be able to use that appraisal. I'm not sure on that. Rodney thought we could,
Okay.
but that was his initial reaction because it's been so recent.
But before we can move ahead any further, and even any discussions about the building, we need to declare it surplus, correct?
Yes.
Well, and I think personally, one thing nice about declaring it surplus is just the fact that it gets the word out that we're actually looking to surplus it. And then if we have anybody in the community that has really strong feelings one way or the other, we're gonna hear from it. You know, I mean, because I guess as far as I'm concerned, a lot of our discussions about it in a school board meeting really doesn't make it out into the community. You know, where if we declare surplus, it's probably gonna make the paper.
Troy, we were just discussing whether or not the elementary surplus property.
Basically, by deciding that you want to surplus it, you're stating that right now you don't see an educational purpose for the building.
But that's the whole thing, how do we unsurplus it after, I mean, can we bring it back in and say, okay, I guess there is some educational value there? I mean, is that a threshold that's gonna be hard to cross back over?
Determine you want to use it.
If we determine there's a useful purpose, we can take it out of surplus, put it back into use.
Right.
As far as I know.
I guess I would be real cautious that I suggest you make that decision based on our needs right now. Do you have an educational purpose for it right now? If you think yes, then you shouldn't surplus. If right now you believe we have no educational purpose from the school day,
Okay.
Currently, right now, educationally, we're not using that building for anything.
Other than there's some homeschoolers up there.
but as far as our school.
Right.
Yeah. And then the only, Haven is funded through the enterprise fund, and then the gym is used. Mostly middle school, you know, then you have some of the little guys that are in there too.
Any further discussion?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is we kind of have to decide what avenue we want to go forward after we surplus it, because that needs to be part of the motion. I mean, what's the consensus? Are we looking at sealed bids? And I think that's probably the safest way to go, cheapest way to go, rather than an auction. Or whatever else. Put it up for sealed bids and have a deadline date, see what's there. Then we still have to have it appraised, right? Or use our appraisal.
Well, I don't believe you need to decide how you want to go about trying to sell it right now.
Okay.
Right now, you'd have to deem it surplus, then
Get the
determine the appraised value and then move forward, because if it were to be under $500, which we know it wouldn't be, then you would have different stipulations. But right now, your only decision tonight, and you could also, again, you know, hold off if you want more information, would be, do you want to deem it surplus or not? Everything else, short of how you want to determine value, if you want to use 3 property owners, or if you want to do a licensed appraisal.
We deem this surplus, does that affect anyone using it right now? Does it affect Haven?
No. I would include that in your motion, that you would like to continue using it as it's currently being used by Haven and the Mock group. It would be good to include that in the motion, just so there's no confusion on that.
Include the library as well?
In the library, yep. Anything that we currently have in there, Rodney thought would be a good idea to include it in the motion when I asked. Because we just don't know, you know, how long you could be.
Well, I'll make that motion that Bart has so carefully crafted.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.